Yo, hey folks, it's Kevin, Big K Horror, and I'm going to show my favorite vampire films in the vampire subgenre of horror. So, these are not, as you know, when I do these favorite videos, I don't rank them really. I just kind of pick them up off the shelf. So that's what I did. So I'm going to throw the title after title. Alright? Alright. So, first off is Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn. I remember seeing this movie in the theater on opening night, and it was hell to try to get in there at my age because I was a freshman in high school, so I wasn't 17 yet. In the theater, people were being kind of dicks about it, but I got in. Yeah, this movie just kind of disturbed me. I don't know why, but it did. But it's resonated with me, and it's a really wholly original idea. I liked it. I mean, it's kind of original. I mean, Vamp did it in the 80s, which is also on my list. But this did it very well. You know, the full bank robbery heist kind of thing movie in the first half, and the second half, the whole vampire showdown at the Titty Twister. You know, it's pretty cool stuff. All right, next up. Oh, this one I love. Okay, I've reviewed this one a long time ago, but man, this is low budget filmmaking at its finest, and it's kind of an late 80s, early 90s, you know, shot in your hometown kind of movie, but it's really impressive for the budget it was, for the people amateurs making it and doing all the gore gags and stuff, which are explosive. Blood explodes off the screen, literally. This is a movie called Darkness, the vampire version. And I don't know why it's called the vampire version, because originally it was just called Leif Younker's Darkness. But I think the vampire version, probably because there's a lot of dark movies called Darkness now. But get a load of that meat. Yeah, alright. So, this movie kind of plays out like a very low budget, but awesomely, impressively shot film. Kind of like, think Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, meets I Am Legend. It's kind of like this. Alright. Next up is some 60s, early 70s swag. Alright, and that is Count Yorga, The Return of Count Yorga. These are kind of fun. I like these. Alright, next up. This one I have to watch again because I haven't seen it in forever. But I remember I kind of enjoyed it for what it was. And it's called Cold Hearts. It kind of plays out like it's kind of like the post-Scream answer to The Lost Boys. That's the only way I can really describe it. Alright, next up is this classic that introduced, there was a TV movie by, you know, God, who was it? Oh, I forget. Anyway, but, Dan Curtis, you know, Dark Shadows fame and all that. Anyway, The Night Stalker, you know, featuring Kolchak, the detective. Yeah, The Night Stalker. Now, The Night Strangler is on here as well, but The Night Stalker was about the Las Vegas vampire. It was awesome, and this spawned his own little series on television called The Night Stalker. Alright, next up is the Japanime classic Vampire Hunter D. This definitely I'm going to throw into my vampire mix. Alright. Next up is the very classic German expressionistic film Nosferatu. Love it. Very glorious, black and white, and very creepy. Next up is this made-for-TV family fun, children-friendly horror film called The Midnight Hour, which it's full of ghouls and ghosts and zombies, witches and all that, but it's also a vampire film. Primarily a lot of vampires are in it. I like it though. It's fun. Alright, next up is the blaxploitation classic. So part of Soul Cinema, Blackula. I remember a long time ago when I was a kid, I saw this title, I was like, that sounds so stupid, you know, because I thought I was just making fun of the name Dracula or something, but it's actually not. I didn't get the whole I didn't know blaxploitation existed back then, but this is a great fucking movie. I love it. Very fun. Very 70s. Alright, next up is this modern day vampire movie that's one of my absolute favorites. Alright? And that is 30 Days of Night. Alright, 30 Days of Night. Very fucking great, vicious siege film of vampires. And I just realized in my stacks here, I didn't grab two of my other favorite vampire movies that I need. I don't know where they are. They're behind me somewhere. But I'll talk about those. Let Me In and Let the Right One In. Okay, let me just say this. Okay, because I own these, but they're somewhere and I forgot to grab them. But Let Me In and Let the Right One In. I love both equally. Okay, now I originally saw Let the Right One In first. and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I was very impressed. It was one of my favorite vampire films right from the get-go. Then, when I heard about the remake for the U.S., I was kind of like, man, what? And I was expecting that day to go to the theater on opening afternoon and see it and make fun of it, or not even make fun of it, but to try to give it a chance, but I was so sure I was going to walk out disappointed. And boy, did I not walk out disappointed. I walked out impressed, and I was like, that was a damn great remake. So, or adaptation, because it's based on the novel. So, I love both equally for different reasons. But I have to say the remake touched me more personally with the whole, they really pushed the bullying edge to the limit, and just how it took a toll on the lead character, the lead boy. But anyway, I loved both though. So, they're somewhere behind me, but anyhow, that's, they're in this mix too. Let the right one in and let me in. Next up is this classic vampire film that got overshadowed by The Lost Boys, and it's called Near Dark. And it has probably a lot of the cast from Alien, James Cameron's Aliens in it. But it's a damn good vampire like road film. Great cast. Okay, this one's absolute favorite of mine almost. This is what got me into vampires when I was a kid. When I was in fourth grade. All right. Salem's Lot, the movie, Tobe Hooper, the adaptation of the Stephen King novel from 1979, made for TV. Fucking love this movie, okay? Barlow, was it Barlow, the Nosferatu vampire, I think? Yeah. Scary as fuck. Alright, next up is more of a comedy, but it's a vampire movie, so I'm going to throw it in here. And I love this. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I grew up on this one as a kid, so it's cool in my book. So, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay, next up is another comedy, but from the, way back. So, it's by, oh my god, I'm having a brain freeze right now, Roman Polanski. Alright, The Fearless Vampire Killers. I love this movie. This movie's entertaining to hell, alright? Very impressive, and it has Sharon Tate in it. A red-haired Sharon Tate. She's gorgeous, and she did a great job in this movie, as well as he does, because he stars in it too, as one of the vampire hunters. And it's a great movie. The Fearless Vampire Killers. Alright. Next up is a title I already mentioned before, and that is Vamp, starring Grace Jones. Well, not starring Grace Jones, she's in it, but as recognizable faces to any horror fan in it. Anyhow, so yeah, Vamp. Strip club vampires. 80s, mid-80s, fun, entertainment cheese, grade A cheese right here of a, mid-80s grade A cheese. Okay, next up, I almost want to do these two together because these are both one of my absolute favorite vampire creature features, and they are creature features in my book, and that is Fright Night 1 and Fright Night 2. Yeah, these movies rock. Love these movies. Alright, next up is the Is He or Isn't He vampire film, but it's very psychological and great, and that's George A. Romero's Martin. I think this movie is absolutely great, and it makes you question a lot of things about the lead character. It's just a good movie. It's very inventive for what it was. Alright. Got two. Well, I have the last one I will say is one of my absolute favorites, so I have two more left though. Here's another juicy nugget from the 70s that's very gorgeously shot, and it has a fairy tale quality to it, and it's called Lamora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural. It's got a lot of lesbianism in it going on, stuff like a lot of female to female crushes, but still it's a good movie, and it's very like a fairy tale. It's called Lamora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural, and it has ghouls and witches and vampires and lesbians. And so moving on, and this is my favorite one, one of my favorite ones of all, The Lost Boys. I know it's so cliche, but it's the truth. But yes, The Lost Boys. This movie is seriously, you got the Frog Brothers, you got the whole Corey Feldman, Corey Haim team up when they were young, and they were really awesome. And and you got Diane Weiss, you got Kiefer Sutherland, you got it all right here. And it's very fucking entertaining. I have to say, this movie was such a damn entertaining movie from front to end, or beginning to end. Alright, so those are my favorite vampire movies out there, that I really can watch over and over. Alright, so that's them. Tell me some of yours in the comments. Alright, peace, bye.